Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Carpology 101. Start off with a cough. That's always a good thing. First off, this video, as all of my videos, are off the cusp. I don't always cover the topics the way I want to. I just wanted to make that disclaimer once in a while. I don't always exactly convey my message to the best of my ability, nor do I get across all the points that I should convey. And I do try to take notes sometimes when I cover important topics, but this particular subject, of course, there's no notes to take. This is Spirituality 101. What is spirituality? It's a joke, because honestly, that word spiritual, 20 years ago, I would have been proud to say I am a spiritual person. If a person says, are you religious? Or do you believe in God? I'd say, no, but I'm spiritual. And I think that was pretty common for a lot of people when they were teenagers or got older and realized that there was something bigger than them, but they couldn't explain it, so therefore, the word spiritual. And today I'm embarrassed to use that word. I never say I'm a spiritual person. It's not because it's because of what it's become to so many people and what it started to imply. Let me give my example. I guess most people have a belief one way or another. Most people that consider themselves spiritual, or a lot of people anyway, will tell another person, well, yoga really works, or meditation really works, or this really works, that really works. There's a million different things people do. Some people do chants and prayers. Some people just give service. That's a very, to be honest, before I forget this, service to mankind, to your fellow man, and to the world is probably should be at the forefront of all religious activity. Before any type of prayer, before any type of chanting or anything, it should be to help. Even to pick up garbage in your neighborhood, do whatever you can. The reason I believe that is because when you're helping your fellow man, you are helping God, because I believe that the whole idea of God means everything at once. So I guess before I get too far off track, to say, what's spirituality? Spirituality is the belief that there's something greater than you, and that you have an essence beyond your mortal body. And often that can't be explained. Most of the time it can't be explained, but like every other belief system, people tend to attach ideas to it. I hate to use the word, but anthropomorphize it. Putting human characteristics on what it means to be a divine creature, giving it male and female attributes, giving it names or properties. The ancient mystery schools, they called it the All. That was their name for this essence, and it's the name I prefer to use now. People, if people have to know, what do I believe? I say I believe in the All. The All, the existence of everything in one coil of energy. It's difficult to explain, but most people who do understand it know what I'm talking about. People who have their own version of what it means to be spiritual, I guess. So when you use the term spiritual, it generally, the reason why it's such a word that I choose not to use is because it has the attribute of meaning that your spirit is something separate and important. And I think to a degree it is, but we want it to be more important than it is. And one of the hardest things for people to face is, even if you believe in something greater than yourself, it doesn't mean that you are important as an individual. Just because the universe has a mind and a purpose doesn't mean that you are part of that purpose as an individual. This is a very important point that I could not express enough. That's one of the hardest things for people to overcome, the idea that you as a human, you're not going to go through these pearly gates and live in eternity in this perfect zone designed for you in this human life for eternity, because what we're learning in this life contributes to the All, to the bigger purpose. And I'm just going by what I think and what I believe. So what do I believe is true is, I don't know. I believe that there's something greater than us that we can't understand. It's an energy force that's based on electricity in one way or another. The electric universe theory has a lot to offer in the way of the bigger picture, but in the micro world, there's also these electromagnetic interferences that mess with animals and surely mess with us too. We have, magnetite in our brains, in our pineal glands, which we don't know exactly how it works completely, but in animals it helps them navigate. Basically, the point is that we're magnetic, electric beings, and that there's a greater magnetic connection between all of us, and that's what I believe. It doesn't harm anyone for me to believe that. In fact, it makes me want to help people and do good things. It makes me want to be a good person and be honest, without being dogmatic and telling others that they have to believe what I believe, you see. Because I understand when people put human characteristics and anthropomorphize the, deity and existence, and that's their choice if that's what they need to do, just so long as the end result is their behavior is conducive to life with other people, that we're getting along with one another. The word integrity means integrating. It means to integrate into society. That's the most important thing to me, is to say if you're not getting along with people, it's usually you. And, people want to blame everybody else for their problems when it's not going well. And sometimes that's true. And sometimes people just live with abusive people, but often they attract that because they get used to it. So, it's not always true. There are a lot of victims, but a lot more people play the victim card. Here goes a victim. Here come the police. Here come the police to bust a victim. That used to really irritate me. I would stop a video and restart it. Damn the sirens. And I realized, it's so funny to think back to that, how seriously I took stuff, because I really wanted to get my point across without getting distracted. That's another thing. I've learned over the last couple of years to not be distracted while I'm making videos too much and forget what I'm saying, because it doesn't matter as much. That point of your perception of the world, how you perceive things, it's your neurons tend to fire that way. However you consider things, what you consider important, how you view the world, it becomes the regular demeanor, which I was going to save that for another video, and so I'm going to, because this one's probably getting long. But it's all about just live and let live, right? Believe what you want to believe, and everybody wants to say, well, we should just be able to, everybody should have their own beliefs, and then all of a sudden you start to realize that many of these beliefs impinge on other people's beliefs. So that's the point I wanted to make, is that this one would be to the Christians. Just because a person, or to the Muslims, or anybody who has a religion, a dogmatic religion, people like me, people who are spiritual or consider themselves to believe in something greater, it's sad to us when you consider us sinful or not worthy merely because we don't believe in the same God. Because I wouldn't think that of another person, unless of course I'm defending myself against what they're saying against me. But it's a bummer that we can't get along, that a person can't see that. Now, to the atheists, I would say it's sad that you people can't see that many people who have a spiritual belief like me, that there's something greater, are not foolish people, are not idiots, are not delusional, but rather just feel something greater we can't express in words, and put that on the shelf and say, yes, there's something greater. And atheists will ask me for proof. They'll say, prove there's something greater. I say, I don't need to prove it, because I'm not dogmatic. I don't have a consistent, this is what I believe that I have to prove. So in that sense, I've been harshed upon by atheists and harshed upon by Christians, because I'm in the middle. And I think a lot of people are in that same boat. So the whole spiritual community tends to group together and create these little groups of, ascension and all this nonsense about activating your chakras and activating and ascending and going to these other realms and 5-dimensional crap. It's just nonsense. None of it has any real basis in reason, and most of it's just garbage. The only real thing that stands the test of time is integrity, dedication to yourself and to your community, understanding who you are, trying to work on yourself and better yourself, and educating yourself, learning about the world you live in. These are simple things that we can all do, and that really don't. We all have this opportunity to be better people if we want to be. And I'm trying. I make a lot of mistakes. I have a lot of personal things to work on. I don't harm others, but I end up harming myself, my addictions, my compulsions, and, it's good to know that and to understand that. Having the belief that there's maybe something greater than myself does not mean that I've completely deluded myself. But however, if I have, it's okay. And that's the point I wanted to make again to the atheists, is that it's not harmful to anyone else that I believe there's something greater, because it's only bringing good to the world. It means that I'm less selfish. It means that I believe that the greater whole means that we should all share with one another. So the fact that people like me believe that should be good for the people who don't. Of course, doesn't mean that atheists aren't altruistic. Many of them are very much. But also the materialists in the world tend to be the ones who are much more. And I'm not saying atheists are all materialists. I'm saying that the material